All right, Toby. Finally, get this worked out.
Yeah.
How you been, man?
I'm fine. It's great. A lot of work, but it's a good sign. There's nothing worse than being a musician who hasn't anything to do. So I'm happy. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Busy as always. Just the same. Not all with music. I'm going to school still and working towards my degree. Pretty close to getting that though. And so yeah, staying busy. It's better to be busy than just sitting around doing nothing and wasting life.
Yeah, well, sometimes I'm a bit jealous of people who are sitting around and not doing anything. But then, after a short while, actually, I'm really happy again for being able to be doing what I'm doing. So yeah, it's cool. A lot of work, and it's not getting better right now. The album's been out for 2 weeks, and I've been talking what seems to me constantly since, I'd say November, and in 2 weeks we're going to kick off the world tour. It's insane, I have to say. I've been doing this for so long, but it's never been like that. Actually, it's either I'm getting older or I'm doing more interviews.
Right, yeah. I know most musicians they want to make it and they want to get out there and do the whole thing, and most of them just want to go and play music and sing and play their instrument, and then they realize that there's this whole other side of it, the business side, and then trying to push the album and publicity and interviews and talking a lot, and it's a lot of extra jobs you got to take on.
Yeah, most musicians who just want to focus on playing a guitar will sooner or later find out that someone else has been doing all the work and someone else has been taking all the money. So these days,
there you go.
These days as a musician, you just got to watch your own business. And I think most musicians are getting more and more more and more focused on the business side of things as well. Sometimes even too much. Sometimes, I wish, some of those bands would pay more attention to the musical side of things. But I have to say, it's really, you have to watch your own business these days because there's so many ways to be screwed. So that's why I'm a control freak, and I simply don't, I don't manage to free myself from work and just let go and let other people do certain things. Simply because first, right, I think I'm the best doing them. Second of all, that's weird, but that's the way it is when you're a workaholic. I don't really consider myself a workaholic, but I'm a control freak, and that's why I naturally think I could do that better because I have this emotional attachment to it. And that goes not only from arranging a song to writing a song or picking a certain melody. This is also for paying the phone bill. It's just like everything. I'm the best to do anything of those things. And that's why I'm going to have a heart attack in no time.
All right, Alan. Yeah, the album is absolutely fantastic. Getting a lot of great reviews, and I just can't get enough of it personally. I mean, I've been spinning it nonstop.
Thank you.
Really surprising.
What do you mean by really surprising?
I've been a fan since the very beginning, and I have my favorites and some that are a little bit less than. There's been a few things that you've put out that I was questioning. I'm like, what?
You're very, very diplomatic. You're very diplomatic. Hold on a second. You want to tell me that, Toby, I was not expecting anything great after all the crap records you put out recently. I've loved your first albums, but the last album seemed a bit too mainstreamish and not power metal. They've been too much rock, and this is not the music actually I got into when I first got into Avantasia Interview. I know, that's what you want to say. I completely disagree. But as you say, you love the new album. Well, who am I to prove you wrong at this very point in my career. So no, it's a lot of people say that they didn't necessarily expect that record, which actually makes me scratch my head, because it seems like people didn't like stuff I've done recently, which of course hurts as an artist, because I think anything I've done has always been the best I could do. And I'm very, very happy listening to all those records, be it Rocket Ride, be it Space Police of Edgar. I think it's Rocket Ride and Space Police are my two favorite Edgar albums, actually. And also the Avantasia records I put out, like Mystery of Time. I loved it. But I can't deny that the new album gets great reviews also because people say it's a leap backwards. I didn't plan to do anything like that, because I didn't try to steer the ship back to long gone glorious beginning days, whatever. I simply did what I thought was right, and the album's got a little more high fidelity sound. Maybe I think that's also something that people perceive as more traditional power metal. Yeah, but I didn't wait. I didn't wait for your question. I just interrupted you. Sorry.
That's okay. You were half right. You were almost there. I mean, not quite. The thing is, I was going to say is that while there's stuff that in recent history, with the Ed Guy stuff, it's because you guys have this great sense of humor. And the fact that you just jumped in and answered the question for me shows that you've got a great sense of humor. Made me laugh. But, I mean, certain songs, from, the past Avantasia, when you did the Lost in Space EP, the song Lost in Space had a very pop rock feel to it. And ultimately, I mean, I'm a fan of all kinds of different music. And, if you're predisposed to expecting something and then you don't hear it, it's not always a bad thing. I never think of it as a bad thing. I just have to listen to it a few more times, let it grow on me, see where it takes me. I never just judge anything just from the first get-go. I mean, otherwise I would never be a fan of anything, because I hated Motley Crue when they came in. I hated Ozzy when I first heard them. I heard Metallica. I was never a first-time fan of any of these bands. Mm-hmm. And I'm a total metalhead, but and people will be like, what are you talking about? But, I started in a place and certain artists appealed to me, and then, some very, very rarely do any just jump right out at me. And I like it when it's something that I have to be kind of drawn into and give a chance, because it's different. If it was the same thing as what you put out before, they're like, yeah, it's the same old thing, and then you have that problem where you can please some people, but some people are never going to be happy. Mm-hmm. That being said, this album is not pop rock. It is, in some ways a return, but I just think the different vocalists that are there, just the lineup that you have this time around. And I know all of them have different vocalists. I really liked the thing you did with Klaus from Scorpions for Dying for an Angel. That was fantastic. But this one, I'm just like, every song, it's like I'm just like stuck next to my speaker trying to figure out every little nook and cranny in there, hear every little bit. I don't know. There's something magical about it, man. I don't know exactly what it is, but I really dig it.
Yeah.
It's 2016. You're still putting out Avantasia albums. I thought when Avantasia first showed up, this is just a one-off project. I mean, you're at multiple albums down there. Did you think it was going to go this far?
No way. I mean, it was just meant what you just said. A one-off album project, or a two-off album project, so to speak. I mean, it was a cliffhanger, the first two records.
Part one,
it was
part
just
two.
It was just like, I just wanted to do this little musical, or, something like Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera. Why not Toby Sammet's Avantasia? I thought it was just my dream, and I just wanted to work with other singers that had an impact on my career and on my vocal style and everything, and people who just had an influence on me. So I was just dreaming to do that one record, and that was it. I didn't think about establishing a second band. By that time, I hadn't even established the first band I had. It was just, Edgar was an up-and-coming band, and people were thinking I was crazy to be doing this, because they said, who needs a side project a singer of a band that has not even been established themselves on their own. So, but I didn't care. As you know, that's the way I've always been. I didn't care about what people thought was appropriate. I didn't care about what people thought was reasonable because I so much wanted to do it. That was all. Life is not long enough to think about what is reasonable or what other people think is reasonable. I just wanted to do it. And the thing is, I never thought about doing it again, but 5 years later, people kept asking more and more about it, and I always refused to even think about it, because to me, in my little mind, it was all decided. No, Avantasia was just a one-off project. It was not even meant to be a band name. It was meant to be the name of a concept, the name of a musical. But then, I don't know why, but at some point, I thought about simply doing it again, because meanwhile, Edguy were a bigger act, and we had done world tours, we had top 10 records, and Avantasia had such a great reputation, so I thought, if I would do it again now, that was 2006, if I would do it again now, I could do so many more things, because I had the budget. I knew I would get a good record deal to even realize bigger dreams or make bigger dreams come true. So I started working with Sasha Ped, who meanwhile had become the producer of Edguy and who I knew was a great guitar player as well. We sat down together, we established certain songs, we arranged certain song ideas, and I found out that it sounds different than what we've done on the Metal Opera record, but it sounded like Avantasia. To me, it sounded valid, and that's when I said, okay, let's do it again. And then everything took off. Then I asked Eric Singer, and Eric Singer said, yes, I'm going to do it, no problem. And he played the drums. Hey, that was the drummer of Kiss and Black Sabbath and Alice Cooper. One of my all-time favorite rock drummers. I didn't want a heavy metal drummer because with Felix, I had such a strong heavy metal drummer in Edguy. I wanted to have a different approach when it came to that. So, yeah, everything went bigger. Then all of a sudden there was Alice Cooper, and all of a sudden after the record was put out, I was approached by Wacken Open Air, the biggest heavy metal festival in the world, to headline their festival in front of 80,000.
Oh, wow.
I've always said I'm never going to do Avantasia on stage. That was the greatest thing when I put the record together. I didn't have to worry about how to do it on stage. We could do everything on record, but we would never have to prove that we can actually do that live. I could do whatever I wanted. Then we had that offer. But when you get that offer, and when you're a musician from head to toe, you have to seriously consider doing it. It would be ridiculously irresponsible towards your own childhood dreams to turn down an offer like that, because that's why you get into the music business in the first place, to go on stage and play live, and you get offered a slot that was beyond imagination. So we said, okay, we're going to do it. I talked to Sasha. We said, okay, we're going to put some lineup on stage. We're going to do it. And once the word got out that we are going to headline Wacken Open Air, Sweden Rock Festival came, promoters in South America came, promoters in Tokyo came. So it became a world tour, but it was completely... it came out of the blue. I didn't want to do it. I'm innocent. It just happened. And after it was over, that tour, I thought it can't get any bigger than that, so I called it a day. But 2 years later, I found out that that was a stupid idea, because I found out how much I missed doing that Avantasia thing. And so, accidentally, what started out as Phantom of the Opera by Toby Sammet became what started out as a little Broadway musical studio album became a band and an entity and an institution now. Seventh album, we're touring the world, we're playing several countries. A lot of shows are selling out. It's a bit scary, but it proves that if you follow your heart and if you do, that sounds cheesy, but it's true. If you do what you believe in, it is, you will succeed. That sounds very cheesy, but it's true. I mean, I did it for the right reasons. I never did it because I wanted to be famous or anything. I did it because I thought, wow, it's great to be doing this, to play that kind of music, to do the record I don't have in my collection yet, with all the singers that I want to be on the same record. And so, yeah, it was put together for the right reasons. I think now we're reaping the rewards for being in this for the right reason, I believe.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, you've definitely created a legacy, man. And I'm happy that you're playing everything live. I get to actually see you play live coming up here in Southern California when you play in Anaheim.
Anaheim, yeah, that's really funny. You know, this is probably the smallest show we're going to play on the entire tour. So that's a very intimate atmosphere. I think it's the House of Blues in Anaheim, and I think the stage is probably as big as our kitchen here at home. You know, it's really funny, but we're going to put it all on there, and there will be everybody. I mean, not Bob Catley because he can't do the round the world trip, but because he will be off with his own band by that time. But there will be Michael Kiske, and there will be Jorn Lande, and there will be Herbie Langhans and Eric Martin of Mr. Big, and Ronnie Atkins for the I don't know if he's for the first time in the U.S. I don't think so. But anyway, it's going to be, we're going to bring the full lineup to that tiny little stage, and I think this is going to be something very, 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 very special. I think fans will witness something they can't see, not even here in Europe, nowhere, because it's such a small. I mean, this is like a public rehearsal, but still, we're going to do the full thing, the full set, 3.5 hours. I mean, yeah, it's great. People were asking me, I mean, Eric Martin was asking me, how the fuck are you going to put Avantasia on the stage of House of Blues in Anaheim? And I said, Eric, I have no clue, but we will fit. Probably not the whole stage set and the catwalks and the stairs and the whole stage. Not for sure, but we will fit, and we will play the music. We'll be close to the people, and people will get the material they want to hear. So that's what counts, because that's, I mean, well, you know, Jimi Hendrix didn't have a laser show and you know, all these telescope platform balconies going out into the audience and all that stuff. He did it without the bells and whistles. So why shouldn't we be able to do that?
I think people are going to be appreciative of whatever you bring. I mean, just the fact that, I mean, I was just ecstatic when I heard that there was a date announced in California. I was like, are you kidding me, really?
Yeah,
like, because I've been waiting for a long time. Small stage or not, it makes me feel even more special that you're going to try and cram everything in there and bring the whole production. And
yeah, you know, It's just, I was just asked in an interview like a week ago, which was my favorite show of all time. And I said, I was asked, was it Wacken this year or Wacken that year? I said, Wacken was great every time we played it. I mean, 80,000 people, you get a lot of energy from the audience. But the show that I recall most was a show in a very, very, very small, it was a Christmas special show in front of 650 people. The place was packed. It was sweaty. It was sold out long time in advance. 650 or 700 people here in Germany, a small club. That was just a show after the official tour. It was just a Christmas special thing. And the audience and the band became one. It was not planned. There was no show, actually. There was no walkways on stage, and there was no, not the catwalks and the ramps and all that stuff was missing. But it was the audience and us, and it was the magic was so great. So I actually expect this Avantasia show in Anaheim. It's probably going to be the smallest Avantasia show of all time. But I expect it to be something great because we will do the songs, we will do the set, and it will be special. Of course, this is not the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, especially not in Anaheim in House of Blues. But
right.
but it will be great. It will be great. It's just like seeing a big show in a very, very, very tiny place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Very intimate. There's going to be a lot of energy for sure. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just saying that I have to come to the end because the next interview is already waiting. But if you got another question, of course I can answer that.
Yeah, I wanted to try and squeeze one in really quick here. We got, according to my clock, we got like 5 minutes. But so with the Avantasia band, you're bringing all these artists that you've respected their work over the years, people that have been influenced on you or you've been a fan of. Have you ever thought about branching outside of that and looking for up-and-coming artists or new ones to introduce to the world and going that way, somebody that's just really stellar, and changing it up at all? Or is it just you're stuck with that formula that works? Or I'm just curious, what the future might hold for Avantasia in that realm.
I'm curious what the future might hold for Avantasia. I haven't made any plans yet, and there is no formula at all. I started this project to do the record that I wanted to have in my collection but didn't have. So my whole idea was just to do something that I dreamed about, and I have no clue. I don't see it as my responsibility to introduce anybody to anyone. To me, it's just doing what I love doing. And if there is a young artist that I love and I think is great, of course, why not? I mean, I would invite him. It is just very naturally, if I look in I'm right now sitting next to my CD collection or part of it, and I just see mainly old farts. Hell, I'm becoming an old fart myself. And because these are the people that I grew up with. These are the other people that I adore and that I look up with. But I think awesomeness has got nothing to do with age. It's just that these people influenced me, people that were in the business when I was a kid. Naturally, they are a little older than me. But to answer your question, I have no clue what the future holds. I wouldn't outrule that I may ask, if I do another album, that I may ask someone younger. There is bands like Heat, for example, a great Swedish band that we have taken out on the road. We've taken Sabaton out on their first tour. With Ed Guy and Sabaton were opening. It was Ed Guy and special guest was Dragon Force, and the opening act was Sabaton. Now it's great. I mean, they all have made great careers, and I would consider Sabaton and Dragon Force young bands. And I've just found out, funny enough, that CP, the former singer of Dragon Force, is the new vocalist for Skid Row, which I think is great.
Right, yeah.
Great, he got the gig. And I listened to it on the record, and I thought, how the fuck can you replace somebody like Sebastian Bach? And actually, he did very well. I was proud for him, and I thought, well, you've got to be doing this. I wouldn't want to go out and do, step in for Sebastian Bach. But he did great, and I would consider him a younger, in quotation marks, musician. So there's a lot of great talent out there. We did this tour. We just toured in South America with that guy 1.5 years ago with Slash, actually. And their singer, I don't know how old he is actually, but Miles Kennedy, he's a great vocalist. I think he's a younger vocalist as well, and he's great. It's so there is a lot of a lot of great talent out there that hasn't been around, forever. And that's why I wouldn't outrule that.
Right. Well, that's cool. It's good to know. Interesting. We'll be looking forward to whatever may transpire. But I know you got to go to your next interview, and I thank you so much for your time, man. I'm really looking forward to seeing the show. The album's great. There's a lot of mystique about it. I mean, it's got the eerie Ghostlights and mystery and haunting. It all kind of flows together.
Yeah, of course.
Loving every bit of it.
All of it, we squeezed in all of it. We're dragon slayers.
Right on, man. Well, thanks, Toby, for speaking with me, and we'll see you in Anaheim.
See you in Anaheim. Make yourself known, and if I don't have a flu, we may have a beer.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
All right. Then
have a good one, man.
See you in Anaheim.
Wait, hold on one second. Let me make sure this conversation gets ended correctly so its recording comes out. Hold on one second.